I'll start with, I'd like to thank the Creator for allowing us to be here today safely and to share much needed safety information about fire. We have had a couple of fires in Ruby Creek here. I'd like to thank you for coming out and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom of this program. I don't know how to say Ruby Creek in our language, the Luxitsim. Okay, there you go. That's how it's said. But yeah, so I thank you for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. And I hope we all listen here today with an open heart and an open mind and take information home and share it with the other community members. For you who don't know, I was gifted a medicine bag, and this is part of our culture as well. There's medicine in there, so I carry it with me, and in time of need, I can hold on to it, and it kind of grounds me if I'm kind of scattered up there. So I just want to share that with you. But I really thank you for being here today. Thank you for the beautiful lunch. I'm looking forward to having a good sandwich. Okay, all my relations, and safe drive home, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Well, on behalf of Planet Hill Security Inc., I'm Alex Stewart, president of the company, proud founder of Guardian Fire Shield, a product that's been in the market going into its 5th year, designed by an aerospace factory in Renfrew, Ontario, that manufactures product all over the world. But we believe we are on the leading edge of the basic fire extinguisher technology that's about 120 years old and hasn't changed much in 120 years. So what we have in ceilings and homes, kitchen, bedrooms, furnace room, garages, shops, etc., is an auto fire suppression technology that goes off automatically at 135 degrees Fahrenheit. The importance of that I've learned to appreciate because I'm not a fire expert. I own the patent on the technology and I work with fire experts, is that a typical sprinkler head goes off at 155 degrees Fahrenheit. So I now have my technology going into warehouses, condos, restaurants that are sprinklered because my insurer has taught me that water damage is now the single largest cost when a fire occurs in a sprinkler building. 38% of the insurance claim will be due to the fire. The balance will be water. It's a combination of water from the sprinkler systems, which pour out huge non-stop volumes until the fire departments get there. And secondly, the fire departments come in with their hoses and pour more water and chemicals onto the building because they want to do what's right, get rid of the fire, save people's lives, etc. What Guardian Fire Shield is designed to do is to mitigate risk. Now, mitigating risk, we want to be able to get the homeowner out of the home safely, away from harm's risk, away from personal injury and loss of life, and in an ideal situation where positioned properly in a home, and they vary home to home or building to building, is making sure that they mitigate the risk of the fire, ideally put it out if it's positioned correctly, but allow the first responders, the fire departments, to get there in a timely way to save any potential damage. What's unique about Ruby Creek in your community here within Yale First Nation is the distance between both Hope and Kent fire districts, and the fact that upon doing a conclusive comprehensive engineering report for water, you have no fire suppression in this community until Guardian Fire Shield. There was an interest by CMHC to look at building a large above ground cistern. The problem is it would freeze in the wintertime unless it was heated. We talked about putting wells into your river systems, but the concern with their salmon bearing, that won't be appropriate for us either. And because of your geographical location, Guardian Fire Shield is the next best step. Working with Richard, who I'll be calling on in a moment, as the Chief Technology Officer, we've taken Guardian Fire Shield to the next level. We now want to be able to monitor this product in a home, no personal information. It's in house number 5 or the Commons building here at Ruby Creek. This unit goes off. Richard's capturing real-time intelligence, which he'll explain to you. We can ping it to Chief Ken Hansen, the Chief Administrator, the Housing Manager, and Catherine. And with the conversation that I look forward to having with Catherine and Vanessa and Chief Hansen with the 2 local fire departments, we can actually ping the information directly to the fire hall saying, Ruby Creek, home number 4, kitchen fire. And so they know when they're coming here exactly where to go, so they're not wasting any time. And minutes are precious when it comes to fire. And the cycle time between getting either Hope or Kent District Fire Departments to this location, I'm told, is about 12 minutes. A lot of damage can be done in 12 minutes. So having GFS in your homes, in your buildings, your pump house, your common building is a means to mitigate that risk upon it occurring. And that's what we're here to do. So what I'd like to be able to do, and I can speak to First Nations as a former band administrator, economic development officer, I'm proud to be working with First Nations across this country. You have the highest rate of incident of any demographic in the country. And I'm setting a personal goal that I want to be able to change that 5 years from now and saying we're bringing down, there's no more fatalities due to home fires. Richard?
Thank you. So we have this unit, which I have an example of right here. And it has a fire chemical suppressant in the tank. Now, unlike smoke detectors that hit smoke particles and go off when there's toast burning, this unit only goes off when there's heat. And a heat of 135 degrees or 55 degrees Celsius, which is a place you don't want to be in, unless you're in a sauna, I guess. Even then, that would be a little hot. Right? So, the important thing that I like about the GFS Fire Shield is that it doesn't have to be plugged in. It doesn't have to have any power. It will fire suppress when it hits 55 degrees. What I'm here to do is try to advance the warning. Okay, so we've put a computer on the GFS Fire Shield. This computer is monitoring the temperature in the room. Okay, and to do that we need power, and that's why we have this little guy, which is typically what you see that hooks into your computer or hooks into your TV or Netflix or whatever else. What we've done here though is that it's called power over Ethernet. So you don't have to plug this in, which means there's a whole insurance realm of concerns. We just have a power that comes here, and when we plug this in to the device, there's two things that happen. One is it turns on and it feeds in enough power so that it's working. Okay? And second of all, it hooks up to the internet. And now it's connected to the cloud. What we want to do with the temperature sensor in the head is say, give the homeowner a warning that temperature has gone up in your room 20 degrees in the last minute, right? Which is not normal. I don't care how good your wood furnaces are. You're not going to go up 20 degrees, right? So what we're trying to do here is extend the window that tells people that something's wrong. So we have algorithms in the back end that are taking this data inside, and we're looking at it. And if there's a dramatic change in that temperature, we're already starting to raise the alarm. So we can text the homeowner, we can text the band chief, we can text the fire department saying something's going on here. There's something coming up. The beautiful thing that we have here is that this is multi-now layered, right? If it's getting hot, we're telling somebody. If it gets too hot, we turn on the fire suppression before the water comes on. And then, of course, when the water comes on, that's the last defense, and we soak the place down, and we have a lot of cost. What we're trying to do, though, is extend the window as far out as possible to say, something's hot, we have to deal with it. Now, the information that we get from this device looks like this. I will not burn your eyes with it too long, but this is my geeky side coming out. This is the payload of information that comes to us, and you can see that it's a devicer that's sending, and here's the payload that's coming in, and you can see the information that's developing there. Now, that would make your eyes bleed. It certainly makes Alex's eyes bleed when he looks at it. So we decided to do something a little bit better, and we came up with this interface. Now this interface is showing one room in the house, and you can see we're 19 degrees Celsius, and then we had something to happen, and it goes up and down here. And this is an example of the data that comes in to your monitoring station. So when you or the chief gets a message saying something's wrong, you can log into this, for example, and you can start looking at what's going on in the house in terms of, is it the bedroom, is it the kitchen, or where it's going on, and you can see the information that's being transferred there. It's a very simple interface when you log in, because you can jump between, bedroom 2, the kitchen, the master bedroom, etc., etc. And this is just the temperature history that we're dealing with. But the sensor that we also have here is we're also monitoring the valve. Right? We're also monitoring the valve. And the valve is when you press this button and it glows red, that's telling you that the system is active and is ready. But when that presses that button, the computer understands that something's happened and will send me the signal that it's been dispersed. And when I have that signal, that's when I raise the bat alarm and put on the bat light and start to tell people that something's wrong. So again, I know it's a lot of techie stuff, but the thing that I want you to remember here is that we're widening the window of detection so that we can get people out of the house sooner. Any questions?
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
So what's also very important about the program with the Yale First Nation in Ruby Creek is thanks to an application that was made by Yale First Nation to Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, they provided the funding for this pilot program. And I've had a number of, because we've had to have extensions because of supply chain challenges with COVID. Manufacturers weren't getting everything out. The sizes are going out, we're going through the roof, 20 times the value. And we finally got everything back on track. In my conversations with Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation in Ottawa, they're very excited about this program. And one of the parties that Catherine has had the pleasure of meeting, Jeff Mercer, who was hoping to make it here today from CMHC from Ashcroft. He also sits on the CMHC's National Housing Renovation Program. And there's tens of millions of dollars invested in housing renovation on Indigenous property. Nowhere near enough money. There's tens of thousands of homes that need to be renovated, which the federal government isn't yet providing funding for. But the conversations are starting all about, what if we're going to renovate homes, maybe we need to make it a mandate to include GFS, because the cheapest thing you'll ever do is making the home safe. We all need a roof over our heads and someplace to stay warm and be comfortable with our families. So that conversation is underway currently. 2 months ago, I had the opportunity of meeting Mr. Trevor Weems of Apropos Software. This is information I've talked to Catherine about. I've referenced it with the Chief of Council. A Calgary-based company who works with Indigenous communities across the country, and they manage a software program. Unlike Richard and Trevor, I refer to them as geeks because they speak a language I don't understand, which is a bunch of coding. That's okay because it makes magic happen when it's understood. We've now given Trevor Weems and Apropos Infosystems exclusivity for Indigenous communities as it relates to the data we're capturing with our technology. So as he's managing things like roadways, construction, water, sewer, homes, number of people living in the homes, humidity from mold, etc. He captures all of that with the First Nations he's working with. One of those is Slave Lake, where I've had the pleasure of speaking with Ken Lang. He used to be on council. He's the housing construction manager. He's also the volunteer firefighter on the First Nation community. They've lost 21 homes to wood-burning fire stoves in the last 2 years. 21 homes of a community of maybe 800 households. And so Trevor introduced him to my technology, and Trevor got to meet our technology at an Indigenous Housing Conference in Winnipeg, where he saw Cobra Construction, who's one of my contractors who works with Norway House, the largest First Nation community in Manitoba. And they put my product, and have been doing for 2.5 years, into every home they build. And so it takes time to grow. To your question earlier about the opportunities, there's only so much. I wish the days were longer than 24 hours someday, and they aren't. The good Lord gave us 24 hours, so we try and cram as much as we can into 24 hours. And some days we feel good about it, some days we wish we had more time. The bottom line is, we're proud to be working with the Yale First Nation. We're proud that CMHC saw this program warranted some funding to pilot Guardian Fire Shield, and now to pilot the data, which CMHC will never be given because it's the property of Yale First Nation, but they want to hear from Yale First Nation Chief of Council about how is that program working out. Because of privacy rules, we can't share the information with them. We only share it with Chief and Council, and whoever Chief and Council authorized it to be shared with. That said, we're expanding our technologies, we're expanding our services. GFS, Guardian Fire Shield Global Connect, is really important for insurers, which I didn't appreciate elsewhere. I'm not only not an insurer, I'm not a firefighter, but what insurers have educated me about, and their underwriters, like Lloyd's of London, ninth largest underwriter in the world, saying, if you can give us that data and show us that you're actually reducing the risk of the fire, personal injuries, and loss of life, we're willing to come to the table and start subsidizing your technology into the market because you're now saving us cost. And to place that into perspective, in 2019, in Canada and the United States alone, insuring companies put out 11.2 billion US dollars in fire insurance claims. I had no sense of that whatsoever. So we now appreciate that it's not just the homes and businesses and recreational facilities and institutional buildings we're trying to protect. It's actually everybody's risk. And so 2 months ago, thanks to Trevor out of Apropos, he introduces me to the Vice President of TP Insurance. I didn't know who they were. They're a wholly owned Indigenous insurance company out of Ontario, growing across the country. Every community they serve becomes a member, so it's like a co-op. But they're very excited about our product because they've got their deductibles on houses starting at $25,000 to $100,000 per home. Just this week, the Vice President of TP Insurance said, we think we can subsidize this program because we're incurring millions of losses yourself every year. So if we can keep our homes safer with your technology, we should also be willing to put some money up to ensure the homes get your technology. And so that's another strategic partnership, if you will. And the more and more dots we can connect, the more successful we collectively as a greater family will become. Because we can't do it on our own, you can't do it on your own. We all rely on many other players. I refer to it as a spoke and a hub, like a wheel. We're just a spoke, and we probably have another 100 spokes to fill in. And so slowly but slowly we're gaining that momentum, and that's really encouraging for us as well. So for today, I wanted to, firstly, if one of these units goes off, and Catherine was kind enough to share with me the one in her furnace room went off, we've got a shop vac with a HEPA filter here that we'd like to leave with Catherine today for your homes here at Ruby Creek. Use the HEPA filter. It's 99.9% absorption of the fine powder, because what Richard showed you with GFS is a very fine powder that comes out. This machine will take up 99.9% of that product by slurping it up with the vacuum cleaner. So that is for you. In terms of Yale First Nation, I've got a binder of everything on here, and you have our new Global Links pen. Pull that out, that's your USB. And everything in this binder, along with the videos that we took last time by Hussein, are all on this address. Oh, nice. So I'm leaving that for you, Catherine. And I'm leaving one for Chief Hansen and one for Vanessa. So those are over here for you. And then, Catherine, if I can get you to come up for a moment. The absence of Chief Hansen. This is our new corporate logo for Guardian Fire Shield, the Yale First Nation, in recognition of the National Pilot Program for Home and Building Fire Safety. So on behalf of Planet Hill and Security, to you as Housing Manager, to Chief Ken Hansen, Chief and Counsel, to Vanessa, and the members of Ruby Creek, thank you for becoming a partner.
Thank you.
And we hope you'll put this on display somewhere and show it. So thank you very much.
Show him today right away.
If you'd like to say a few words on behalf of Chief Hansen in his absence because he's at a conference, feel free to do so.
Yeah.
You're amongst family. So.
Yeah. Just wanted to say thank you for them starting this. It's real interesting, and I'm glad that we have it in our homes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if there are any questions, any suggestions, any ideas, feel free to share them.
And please spread the news as to what this is.
Yes.
There's a lot of confusion as to what GFS it does and the protection it has and the window of opportunity of alarm to get people to safety. We really want everyone to understand that in the community so that they appreciate what exactly the technology is and Alex's company and all the technology I'm into it.
I think this kind of program will bring a lot of security to the members, you know, because we have had 2 house fires here. One house, one right up in.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to catch that fire when it starts, not when it's fully engulfed, right? So, and because it's heat activated, it doesn't have the trouble as the smoke detectors do, right? Because so often you have so many burnt toasts and then you want to turn it off.
Or popcorn.
Or popcorn, right? So this is automatic. You don't have to look for it. You just have to get out of the house and you know that the fire extinguisher will go.
I think your observation about giving the families comfort, it's the peace of mind that we all need. And then not just with fires, we need peace of mind for so many things. So there's 2 favorite phrases I have. It's peace of mind and something a former banker of mine who I developed different software which said, use the phrase, it's the art of the possible. And I said, is that your phrase? He said, I picked it up somewhere. You're welcome to use it. I use it all the time because I believe all things are possible. If you put the right people in the room, put the challenge on the table, you won't leave that room with a solution or two or three. Phones, cell phones have changed the world.
Oh,
Now you do everything on them.
Yes.
So it is the art of the possible. And Guardian Fire Shield is the new kid on the block, as I call it. And we're growing globally, but we can't grow without referrals. We can't grow without customers seeing the benefit of the product. And this pilot program will run beyond 3 years because we're going to continue to manage the data, work with Chief Hansen, future councils, and the community staff about how we can expand it, because you have other communities that may benefit. Even if you have fire protection, having GFS in your home is the first line of defense.
Yes.
And so we encourage that support.